I'm Geoff Lloyd. We're live from Studio 2 at Abbey Road Studios, and I'm joined by one of the producers here at Abbey Road, who also has a family connection to the place. It's Giles Martin. Hello.
Hello, lovely to be here.
Thank you for popping in. I mean, it's not very far for you to pop in.
No, I'm next door
right.
at the moment. so yeah, it was. I'm cheap and I'm next door, so I'm here.
So just in case anybody doesn't know, and you must get so sick of this, but your dad is George Martin.
That's right.
The legendary producer. So this place, I guess, has a special resonance for you. It must have been somewhere you've been coming since you were a boy.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, both my mum and dad worked here. My dad started in 1950, and I think my mum started earlier actually. And so it's quite fun. I feel a little bit like little Lord Fauntleroy. I've got a parking space that I park in, and people sneer. But no, it's great. I've actually just come back. I've been away from here for a while. I came back here last week, and I'm here until March. And it's lovely coming here because it feels like part of I suppose I wouldn't say part of family tradition, but it's great to be in here.
What was your first memory of coming to this place? Was it coming to work with your dad on a bring your kid to work day? Or?
Well, yeah, no, because my dad left here in '67 really, and formed Air Studios,
yeah.
and so this was the other place for a long time.
Yeah.
And I worked here with Carole King, funnily enough, about 8 years ago. And that was my first session I think I did here. So I was always at Air, and this was the rival. And since I've been involved in Beatles, I've been back here for about 4 years, on and off.
From a producer's point of view, is this place more special than another studio? Is there something you could put your finger on about it that makes it what it is?
Yeah, I think buildings come to life when they've had so many recordings done in them, and this started off at Elgar, and the amount of musicians and great engineers and producers that have wandered through here, and the amount of great equipment they've got in here. I mean, like old pianos. I'm facing the Lady Madonna piano, which isn't very good for radio, but it's
I had a go on it before.
Did you?
Oh yeah, my version was so much better.
Yeah, well, you think so. I'm sure it was. But you play it with one hand.
I kind of tried the other one, but it's not so good.
No, but it's a fantastic building. It's great, It's funny to come into work where you're actually doing, making records and doing stuff, and there's tourists outside, crossing the zebra crossing. It's a bizarre sort of, it's a museum that's alive.
Because there are Beatles fans, this whole other breed of fan, and they're very obsessive. Are you at a point where every now and again a Beatles fan will say to you, aren't you Giles Martin? No, I kind of, I tend to avoid them. Right.
No. Occasionally you get people, but generally people are just very enthusiastic.
For sure.
I went up to Liverpool for the City of Culture thing, and that was a bit weird. Because I kind of feel as though I'm an imposter, really. I was born in 1969, at the end of 1969, when they broke up. And I've had nothing to do with them, really, apart from just recently. And when I was growing up, my dad and my mum were it wasn't something we talked about in the family. People think, you grew up in this world, but really because he was doing other things. And all of them, the Beatles included, had this thing where, oh, that was what we did then, let's forget about it. So I didn't grow up in this sort of Beatles environment at all, but it's great to be associated now. Until
the last couple of years. Now, people will know that the Beatles brought out an album called Love a couple of years ago, and what this was, it's Cirque du Soleil, which are a theatre, physical circus company, world-renowned, and they teamed up with the Beatles organisation to do a show based around the Beatles' music, and that was your baby. Yeah, they locked me in a room, and no, it was fantastic. I mean, the kind of rule was that we could do anything with the Beatles' music as long as we just use Beatles' music. So I got a opportunity, with my dad to create a sort of collage of sound to create the album. So you physically dug out all the old tapes and went through them one by one?
Well, yeah, I found out that all the original tapes hadn't actually been properly backed up. They were that was just one set. And so the first thing, because I thought this is ridiculous. I'm going to get, if I'd heard about the prospect of George Martin's son started playing around Beatles tapes, I'd have been disgusted myself. So I thought that I'd probably. I thought that I'd at least back the tapes up, because then when I got fired, I'd done something that was useful. And so we put everything onto Pro Tools and then started work. It was it was an incredible experience.
And you know, you're saying you're growing up, that wasn't part of your life necessarily, the stories, but was the music part of your life? Was that music like any music fan you knew inside out already?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a musician sort of first and a big fan of music, and so you can't, you know, despite my dad being George Martin, yeah, I'm a fan of the Beatles. You know, you have to be. I think anyone, you know, who gets into music sort of goes through a Beatles stage, and you have favourite songs. So yeah, and I was, but I didn't really feel associated with them. I wouldn't sort of be cocky enough to go, you know, I didn't used to go to restaurants and say, "Don't you know who my father is?" You know, it wasn't sort of part of. I do that now, yeah. But it wasn't part of growing up. But yeah, it was. I felt to begin with, I kind of felt that I'd been given the job, well, I had, because my dad was who he was, and I felt as I had something to prove in that respect. And
what's next for you then? Is there more Beatles stuff?
Yeah, I'm working on. I did Project X, as we you know, which was Love. I'm working on a sort of Project Y at the moment, and I'm thinking about. I've been asked to do something with Brian Wilson, which would be great.
Wow.
It's funny. I sort of work with people. You know, I don't get no young people ask me to work with them. I'm not that old, but. So a number of things. I'm writing music for the same guy that did Love, who did the show out in Vegas. We're doing another show, so I'm doing music for that. Yeah, so it's funny. I do lots of weird things, and it's great. And
you don't feel like you. Oh, I've got an idea for you. What about you producing? Danny Harrison on guitar, Zach Starkey on drums, Sean or Julian, doesn't matter which, and
James.
James,
yeah, that's a really good idea.
Like the next generation.
Yeah, I think
they're always so good. Those things.
Yeah, I think that would be absolutely terrific.
Beatles babies.
Yeah, I think but it would be. I mean, it's obviously a dream come true to work with someone like that. But you know, God, you know, I don't think they'd have me. They give Geoff Lynne the job.
Thank you so much for talking to us. And your dad's coping well with his hearing's all right, is it?
Well, his hearing's.
Has he got a big ear trumpet?
No, he doesn't.
Nice,
he has high-tech hearing aids, which he's very good at dealing with. But yeah, I mean, he's 83. He'll be 83 in January, and he still does stuff. You know, we were out in Ireland last weekend, and yeah, he's still travelling and drinking and eating and loving it, really. So it's amazing. If I can do what he's doing now, I'll be delighted.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and good luck with projects Y, Z.
Yeah,
and back through the alphabet again, I'm sure.
Thanks a lot.